time. And doing that enabled me to see from a larger perspective what our space is, like you said, and which is true, is the fact that I studied microbiology, but I had challenges, during our practical sessions in microbiology. I'm going to look into the microscope and I'm not seeing anything. While other people say they see stuff, they see amoeba and then they are drawing all of those things. But I never saw anything. But I had friends who were in computer science who were very practical, in what it is that they do. So our association allowed me into their mind space to see what could be possible in terms of the future. So we collaborated and we did fantastic things. But going forward from there, I realized that the future belongs to people who can customize it in such a way that you can form a retail kind of business. So when I say a retail, I like, I'm Yoruba, for instance, but I like the Igbo men. I like the fact that they like to earn money on a daily basis. But for us, it's also extremely important that we look at the future and see how we can earn money on a daily basis with whatever it is that we're doing. So the basis of this entire presentation was on the premise of that. So for us, it was more, well, for me, it was more of how can I commercialize what it is that I'm doing right now and make it on a bigger scale. All right. So the introduction is how I started into that. Now, for Cerebrate Media, we are in 3 African countries. We're in Nigeria, we're in Ghana, and we're in Ethiopia. Now, for us, Microsoft and EcoBank, for instance, drove us into that space. Yeah, keep it at this slide. So this, the first slide speaks about demystifying the truth. So the entire presentation is set at achieving one singular objective. There is digital business. Please note the word that is highlighted, business, versus digital business, which is digital. So I'm using those 2 words interchangeably. There is actually the business in itself. Digital is a vehicle and it would always remain a vehicle for the business. So there is the business. So for instance, if somebody is, let me take for instance, I'm selling plum, for instance. The business is selling plum, all right? I can digitalize it, which is the fact that I can say, I take a picture of this, of myself eating this plum, and I put it online. So if I then say, maybe let's even say as simple as my WhatsApp status, I put that business on my WhatsApp status and I put all the functionality of that. Now that is the vehicle to drive the plum, all right? So there is the business. Never forget that there is always the business. Now you cannot substitute the business for digital in itself. So a lot of people think that they can do all sorts. So you see in the online space, they joke about something, what I ordered versus what got delivered, all right? Never ever forget the fact that the business remains the business. Once you lose sight of the business, then digital would not work for you. So venturing into digital means that you must understand what your business is, all right? So people say things like, I want to expand my scope, I want to do all of those things, but their business in itself is not a functional business, it's not a scalable business, or it's not a business that does anything meaningful. Can we go to the next slide? Now, knowing the difference, which means that putting the horse before the cat or the cat before the horse, it's very, very important. So there are a lot of people who actually know the ways of digital marketing, but they do not have a business. So you can know Google AdWords, you can know social media, you can know all of those things, but the business remains the business in itself. So for instance, in the online space, there are quite a lot of people who are duping people in the name of digital business. So somebody can snap a phone, for instance, and then put it online to say, I am selling this particular phone, right? But when you're selling that phone, you are selling it on the premise of trust, which is the currency that digital works on. As I am right now, you can hear me, you can see me. But if I told you that I could have told you, for instance, that I am doing this presentation from my home, that would have been a lie, but you would not know the difference. All right. So the entire concept of digital business is on the premise of trust. So if somebody is wanting to buy anything from you, it's on the premise of trust. Once you violate that, you have lost a customer. Not only have you lost a customer, you have lost 10 other people and probably more, because somebody's actually going to blacklist you to say, once you see this person, do not do any kind of business with them. Go to the next slide. Next slide, please. So this is what the world is changing, and human contact is rapidly being eroded by digital innovations. Another day goes by. We hear a lot about how digital transformation is changing things, but very little about what is changing. So when the pandemic started out and people started using Zoom, using Microsoft Teams and all of that, a lot of people are paying lip service to the fact that the world has changed. The world is going to change, and things are never going to remain the same. But the actual fact is that most people are not saying what is being changed. The real business still remains the real business. How many of you guys were, I'm sure most of us here knew when Konga and Jumia were all over the place. They were all over the place. It was almost as if, what's it called, e-commerce has taken over, right? But what they failed to realize at the time where they were all over, they were on TV, radio, billboards, everywhere, right? And saying that they were selling e-commerce. In fact, they pushed the bound to the point where they started out with pay on delivery. Now, that was the downfall of that particular business and made them actually slow down after some time. Because the truth about the matter is that in this side of the world, trust is the currency that we trade. And when it is in deficit, you actually cannot make any form of progress. So digital is ruined, quote and unquote, because of that currency called trust, not money. So they felt at the time that when they extend some level of trust to the customers will extend the same back to them. So let me give you an example. In more developed world, the Western world, for instance, Amazon Prime allows you for you to bring your clothes, for instance, right? You can buy a clothes online and you can return it within 5 days. What most Africans in the US, for instance, do is this. They will buy those clothes, all right, wear them to parties, and then return them back. Now, that's not the representation of their entire system, but that's a percentage of it. Imagine that's a representation of their larger system, then the market will be doomed. So to do this is to say the horse is moving fast, but not taking into cognizance what's in the cart. Somebody has got to be driving that cart. And that thing is actually trust. That thing, the business in itself, is trust. So venturing into digital marketing business remains the fact that you must be doing a business. You actually must be doing a business. One of the things I realized is that you can train people as much as you can talk about Google AdWords, you can do all of those things. One of our clients, which is First Bank, for instance, had partnership with Google. And in which they did a partnership with Google, Google had to tell them that you still need an agency to be able to drive you to the point where you want to get to, which is the business in itself. Somebody who understands the actual business. So I can tell you all these things, all these principles and nice things and everything. The time when you know that you are in the business is when you start trading. So people can teach you stuff from school. Everybody goes to school, for instance, but on the field in itself is where you learn the skill in itself. But the fundamental truth about digital business, first, is that you must understand that what we trade in the online space is trust. Once you lose it, once you lose that currency, you have lost everything, absolutely everything. Please, the next slide. Next slide, please. Now, the idea of digital is just a vehicle. And I think I emphasize that business leaders must have a clear understanding of digital means to them. There is a need for leaders to see digital less as a thing and more of a way of doing things. The business itself is the thing. This is McKinsey. I mean, McKinsey is one of the biggest consultants in the world, all right, which is digital business versus digital business, which means that the business is more important than the vehicle. The business remains more important than the vehicle. Interestingly, in recent times after the pandemic, I invested in a business which is into humidifiers. All right. Now, one of the things I realized is that it's not even about the investment that was made into that business. The most important part of this business is the fact that the custodian of that business is extremely centric on customer relations. Every single person, I mean, when I go through the business timeline, every single person is not talking about the product that they bought. They're talking about the customer feedback, the customer care, how the person responded back to them in a way and manner in which is good. If you talk about banks, for instance, a lot of people will talk about GT Bank as one of the best banks, right? As a matter of fact, when people have challenges by end of the month, where they are having challenges in transferring or doing any transaction whatsoever, people make excuses for GT Bank and say to them that, don't worry, just wait till tomorrow. At the end of the month, they're always having issues. But once you wait till tomorrow, your transactions would have gone through. And it's quite interesting to me to see that customers are making excuses for a bank. What that means is that their customer care relationship has grown really further than what we think, beyond the transaction, because people don't joke with their money. So for people to be making excuses for you, then you must have done something. So let us not what's it called now? Let us not sleep on the conversation and think that digital marketing is all that, you knowing Google, knowing social media, you knowing WhatsApp or Instagram or LinkedIn will drive whatever it is that you want to do. The business remains the business. So master the act of what makes your business tick. Go to the next slide, please. Now, these are the perks of digital, all right? On a global level, businesses are leveraging digital to achieve one or a combination of its core objectives. So on this particular slide, all right, you can do market expansion, and I can give you different examples. I mean, because we're Christians, I'm going to go into certain conversation. Beginning of, I think, 2019, I was praying about the fact that, I wanted, Celebrate to be in 10 African countries and all of that. In my head, I felt that, Celebrate being in 10 African countries will require us to set up businesses in those like physical location, physical, what you call it now, physical space in those places, whereby, you have Celebrate and an office and all of that. But when we got the EcoBank accounts, I think 2017, right? And when we did, I thought that was, that's the best thing that could ever happen because it was quite a lot of money. But they dragged us into what's it called now, their global strategy session, which was in Lomé. And, they said, okay, you're going to be able to provide strategy, not just for Nigeria, but for all of these other places. Now that's market expansion. So from where we are in Lagos, Nigeria, we're in Ghana physically, we're in Ethiopia physically, but to provide for 10, and EcoBank is in 33 African countries, for instance, we have to provide strategy across the entire spectrum. That is market expansion. Support in terms of creativity. The way they think in Uganda is totally different from the way they think, in Cote d'Ivoire, for instance. They speak French in Cote d'Ivoire. They have their nuances. They have the ways of doing things. That's what digital will do for you. So you can be here and be selling things to people in God knows where, all right? There's also the cost optimization. One of the things we quickly realized, for instance, in the new business that I ventured in, which is the humidifier business, for instance, was that the cost of optimizing what it is that you want to do is minimal. So from here, for instance, you're seeing people asking for your product on Jumia, asking for your product on Konga. All right, that's one of the things what's it called, digital business will do for you. Then there is also product, service, and differentiation. You begin to see specific things people are asking for. So for instance, again, I'm going to use that as an example, all right, which is the fact that people are now beginning to ask for customized products other than what it is that you set out to do. So you'll be hearing feedbacks from people. They'll tell you, once somebody says, oh, I wish you could do X, Y, Z. Once they say, I wish, that means that you are being opened up to a total sector of differentiation in terms of your product. What you thought you could do will change from that, from then going forward. That is the perks of what digital will give to you. It still never changes your business. Your business remains the same. The mode in which you are doing the business now differs. Go to the next slide. Next slide, please. Right. So why all the fuss? Like they say, numbers don't lie. The total number of internet users, I'm talking about Nigeria right now, is 85.49 million. All right. Now, annual growth in the number of internet users is plus 2.6%, which means on a yearly basis, people are growing every now and then. Internet device usage is 72.8%, which is annual growth. Now, this particular data was gotten from 2019. In pandemic, the entire thing went to the next level. For instance, my children, what they understand by what's it called now, school and church for the last couple of months is their device. So we wake up every Sunday morning and say, we're going to church, and church becomes that device. And I'm sure that conversation has soared very significantly. My older son, for instance, understands that my assignment is on the internet, and then I am what's it called now, submitting all of my assignments. They had an exam online, they were graded online, and it was a totally different conversation entirely for them. But interestingly, they are getting used to it. In fact, I think it will take a lot of reprogramming for them to get back into school again. This is why the force is right now. In fact, something happened recently with his new device. So he was playing, what's it called now, a game on his phone. And then he says, Daddy, I need to open a PayPal account. This dude is 9. And I'm like, what do you need a PayPal account from? How do you even know what PayPal is? He says he's playing a game that, once he's winning something, they're going to convert what he's winning into actual money. I was like, I'm a digital expert, but this thing that you're saying, I'm not so sure about it. So I had to go research that. It turns out it was true. So the entire conversation of our lives they've significantly changed from what it is we think it is. Now, numbers don't lie, but sometimes if you do not interpret the numbers right, then it would lie to you. So you can be here, for instance, and assume that all of these things are, what's it called now? Let me give you an example now. I want to sell an iPhone 12, for instance. Yes, numbers don't lie. We have 85.749 million people. But how many people have the purchasing power to buy that phone? That's another conversation entirely. So when numbers don't lie, it's also extremely important that we are mining those numbers. Mining those numbers are extremely important. So I'll be lying to you if I said, for instance, don't worry, just go online. Everybody will buy your product, all right? But if you do not get the right target market, the right target audience, you will see that the entire conversation will change in 2 seconds. Go to the next slide. Social media usage. I mean, in terms of numbers, we have 27 million active social media users in Nigeria. Annual growth rate is 14%, which is additional. Percentage of social media users access is 99%. So for instance, the moment my mom, she's a bit old. She won't agree to the fact that she's old, but she is. And then she invited me on Facebook. First of all, I was shocked. The second thing was she did a video call. Then I was like, okay, there's a problem here. I mean, she's now used to the entire conversation in the online space. So they are forwarding messages to you They're forwarding videos to you that this is what is happening and all of that. Whether it's true or not is another conversation entirely. So what that means is that there's a lot of penetration in the social media space. How you convert those things is extremely important in this particular space that's right now. So those are the data. Go to the next slide, please. Now, what level are you on? This is a clear-cut diagnosis or analysis of where you might be right now. Offline, which means that at this stage, small business run traditional model of brick and mortar, which is an office or a store or a house or wherever it is. The idea of digitalization hasn't been conceptualized in relation to their business. So you can be offline, for instance, I'm selling sweets, I'm selling fruits, all right? That's where, I mean, you might be at that space right now, but there are loads and loads of opportunity in that space. I give you an example. We recruit, what's it called now, for First Bank and for what's it called, EcoBank. We recruit what we call, so for First Bank, it's called First Money Agents, which are people who are doing small, medium business, but people can come to them to withdraw money, all right? Now, these guys just have a simple phone, right? So they can use their USSD, string to actually do transactions. So if, for instance, you stay in areas like Alimosho, for instance, they probably have like 3 ATM machines there, right? The queue to get money from those kind of areas is extremely long. So people like this, like First Money Agents or Express Points, for instance, agents, they will stand at that place. You come to them, retrieve money, they charge 100 Naira on that particular transaction alone. And at the end of the day, they've made 100 Naira for every transaction on that particular, So if that's the level you are on right now, you don't need to do too much. Even in just cash transactions, you would have done a lot more than you think. The other level is the intermediate engagement, all right, which means that business is sophisticated enough to incorporate features. Okay, I think I should go to the basic digital engagement. At this stage, application of technology ends at owning social media handles. So you see a lot of people who have handles, they're posting their shoes, their bags, and all of those things on on their social media page. They have a website, they have email address. Most often, there are no clear-cut strategy to harness any of these own digital assets. Now, we need to begin to translate some of these assets in the digital space in actual concrete terms. So if somebody is good enough to have a social media handle, you have a website, you have an email address, then you're getting there into that space where you can actually begin to optimize what it is that you have. Then there's the intermediate digital engagement, which is the means for business which is sophisticated enough to incorporate features like e-commerce, platforms you can integrate with Paga, or you can integrate with Paystack or Flutterwave and all of that. Then there's the advanced digital engagement, which is very few small businesses exist in this level. It is only at the digital stage small business can maximize the use of digital technology. They raise competitiveness and expand operation to compete with even global brands at this stage. Let me give you an example. I saw the, inflow for this particular business that we invested in grow from 100,000 to 600,000 a month in less than 3 months, just by making certain adjustments to the way and manner in which they expand their offerings, to the world. Go to the next slide. So here's a case study. In the light of current happenings, you can have distributive tools, all right, which is expanding your reach. And those tools are, for instance, from where you are, it doesn't cost you anything if you're selling anything to put those products on Jumia, to put those products on Konga, to put those products on Amazon, all right? You would say, Amazon, that's too big. If you know the criteria, it's as simple as that. There is cost optimization, which is the third-party tool integration. Third-party tool integration is, of course, the money must come back to me. Integrate with Flutterwave. Flutterwave will take you to the world. Paystack will take you to the world. Paga will take you to the world. From where you are right now, or integrating with InteSwitch, you actually can begin to generate a lot of USD from what it is that you're selling. Let's even talk about that optimization in terms of third-party tool. Then there is the service differentiation, which is content generation. Most people in the world do not know what they want. Most people do not know what they want, which is why the 1% remains the sect of people who will continue to rule the rest of the world because they understand the dynamics of the mind. So when we talk about content generation, for instance, I can tell you that this is water, but if I tell you the multiple purpose of this water, you will see that the conversation changes entirely just from drinking to something else. And there is a contactless payment, which is payment in terms of we do not need to see you before we make payment. Now, for us as Cerebrate, for instance, one of the things we did was this. You can only have limited amount of people you can service. So if we have, maybe we have 20 accounts, which are big brands accounts, and there are quite a lot of things to do on that particular account. What we did was we launched what we call the virtual agency. The virtual agency allows small, medium enterprise people to engage with you without them having to spend so much money. So for instance, the big business, you have to be on retainers, they pay millions for that, right? But for you to be able to service the small, medium enterprise, you can, so we launched that particular portal. So if you want to do XYZ, you put your brief on that portal, and then there will be clients, there will be staff or people who have signed up to deal with that particular brief from hand to hand. So up until the point of payment, they'll make the payment, you get money, and I haven't seen any of those people ever all of my life. And they've answered brief, they've churned out brief, the solution, and we've moved on from there. Go to the next slide. So a different kind of distribution. So from brick and mortar, and I'm going to talk about the church now, all right? One of the reasons why some churches are lagging behind, all right, remains the fact that our scope of, what's it called now, distribution, and I've seen what RCCG has done, for instance, with Holy Ghost Night, all right? Even the convention is being held online right now. Now, the entire conversation has evolved significantly, way beyond what we can think or imagine. So you can actually be in your homes and actually be leveraging on your phones to get into the world, all right? So we're seeing a movement from aggregating people to distributing services. In the past few months, the pandemic made it mandatory for companies to operate their businesses in ways that reduce people contacts to the minimum. Hence, competitive organizations must change the distribution model to adapt to the new normal. So first of all is the brick and mortar. There's a video stream, there's the audio stream, all right? So as we're speaking right now, I know there are people, all right, who are registered for this particular conversation, right? But I can't see them, but I know that they are there. I know you're listening to me, all right? Now, the entire conversation doesn't stop where we are right now. The entire so I can see that there's a recording going on right now. This is content that can be shared, all right, beyond this particular forum. You can cut it in clips of maybe a minute, 2 minutes, and you can promote it based on what it is that you want to do. In other sects, there are other things that can follow through from here. So the pandemic has shown the need for a new distribution strategy among churches, even in Nigeria. Church with the right digital integration have been able to switch dissemination of both video and audio content among a targeted audience in such a way that operations haven't been shut down by the situation of things. Now, if you look at radio, for instance, which is the frequency FM, you use an antenna to convert, to reach out to whatever it is you want to do. Now, the entire conversation has changed. So the owning of radio is totally democratized right now. You can actually open a radio stations right now with full operations, with full content, all right, that can appeal to a certain set of demographic, All right, this is the time to begin to do those kind of conversations. All right, go to the next slide. I'm trying to keep to my time. All right, so in terms of cost of optimization, 80% is now a myth. Thanks to the head of digital, operating costs can be consolidated across multiple locations, maybe even continents. So there's Fever and the virtual agency, which is brainchild of Cerebrate, all right, are platforms that gives individuals in need of certain services access to skills globally. So I can be here in Nigeria, all right, and then somebody who has registered for virtual agency is in Cotonou. And by way of that, virtue of that, I mean, in recent times, we got a brief to translate, it was Swahili, all right? We're working on a brief for a South African brand. And, you know, I mean, I don't speak Swahili. I don't know anybody who speaks Swahili. But we needed the artwork to have Swahili on it. And for some reason, we had to send it to the virtual agency. And somebody says, I speak Swahili. But we can't even know if actually that person speaks Swahili, because the person can say that black sheep, have you any who? And then we go and give it to the client. So we needed another opinion, all right? So we had to get two different people to basically corroborate what it is that this person has said or interpreted. On that premise, we paid that person. Now, if somebody had told me in 2019 that we're going to get to this point, you know, of this level of openness, I would have said it's not possible. All right, so these are the people who are defining the workplace where skills can be pulled globally. This way, companies can operate lean with reduced overheads. All right, so the emphasis on brick and mortar is getting on the low now. Go to the next slide. So content is king. Content is king. Do not be part of the noise. Don't be part of the noise. One of the biggest companies in the world thrives on the need to filter internet noise. So hence a major part of content strategy is understanding the 5 W's and H model. So a lot of people think they are posting content. Once I do a video and I say something has happened here, something has happened there, that's content. Content is king, and it's important that you are putting the right content out at the right time. Who are my market? Who are the people that I'm speaking to? What are they consuming? It's important that I get the right audience. What are those people consuming? Why are they consuming that thing? Where do they consume it? When are they consuming it? And how are they consuming it? Now, for instance, in my church, for instance, we had what's it called now? A sect of people who are like young people, all right? And, you know, they were doing this type of conversation on what's it called now, how to develop their skill sets in the marketplace. So where people who are, for instance, middle management, and they want to move to the level of senior management. Now, there's certain things, there's a particular time where you must put your conversation for people to want to listen to you. So if you, for instance, I mean, depending on people's schedule, right, you actually cannot get their attention at that particular point in time. Who are your markets? So what are those market? What are they consuming? It's important to know who those target audience is. For me and for all the other businesses that I do, you know, it's important that it's a conversation that is an ongoing conversation. Once we identify that, it becomes easy for you to reach out to them. Go to the next slide. So exploring content formats. Now, these are details again in terms of content. So when you say content, people think about content in respect to just videos or just text. So there's the blogging, there is product reviews, there's book reviews, there are opinions, there are listicles, there are videos, there's the do-it-yourself guides, there's infographics, there's ebooks, there are white papers. Now, on LinkedIn, for instance, there's a way in which you can use your particular content and you look ridiculous, all right? On LinkedIn, because it's meant to be an intellectual platform, social media platform, there's certain ways you must appeal to people that will be totally different from how you're going to put your products or your services on Facebook or on Instagram or even on Twitter. So it's important that you have an idea of how things work in terms of exploring content formats. Go to the next slide. Right, so this is the conversation on contactless payments, which is cashless payments, as a new name. There's a drastic change in how customers are carrying out transactions, and there is a need for brands to align to customer changing behavior. So for instance, this day and time, because of the trust deficit, you cannot be doing business right now without you not collecting your money upfront. And if you then say that you're collecting your money upfront, you also must extend the same level of trust to people by delivering right on time. So that way, people know you for efficiency. So if you're looking at mobile phone transactions have soared up from 2017 to 2018 from 79% to 81%. So what that means is that most people are doing more of mobile transactions. Mobile app transaction, which means that you're trying to do, what's it called now? Moving money from one account to the other has gone down from 2017 and from 4% to 40%. USSD transaction has soared, which is from 25% in 2017 to 35% in 2018. And then other e-channels, all right, has gone down, which is from 31% to 25%, which is the highest in terms of what's it called now? The decline has been on the rise. So there's quite a lot of mobile phone transaction that is going on right now. So if you're integrating and you're venturing into the digital marketing space, you need to be looking at that particular conversation. Next slide, please.
Hi, Mr. Kundayo. I hate to interject here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. I just want to quickly say that, please, for those that have just joined us in the last 10, 15, 20 minutes, please put in your questions, chat your questions, please. For those of us that are not reading their chats, please, we need you to start putting in your questions now. We have about 5 minutes more for this session.
Okay.
Yeah, so please, very important, please put in your chats now. Thank you.
All right, now, starting afresh, which is objectives to consider. This is the digital starter pack. First of all, is about client engagement. Which again emphasizes what I said from the beginning, that putting the business first is extremely important. Client engagement, operational tools optimization. Those tools are things that would help you in terms of distribution. But first of all, it's about the client. First of all, second of all, third of all, it's about the client. It's about whoever it is that is perceiving your product. They must see that you care for them beyond just selling. Operational tools optimization. Then there's a brand growth. Now, if you take these two things, very, very important, automatically you get your brand to grow. What makes a brand grow is not you putting nice artworks. What makes a brand grow is the values of the brand being communicated and lived up as you sell whatever it is that you're selling. From that, generally, people begin to give you options in terms of, I want to sell this thing in Abuja. I want you to sell it in Cotonou or whatever it is, which is reach and expansion. And then you constantly get a feedback, For every single person you sell to, you're asking them to give you a feedback. The objectives will be to craft a digital plan in this light. So if you have this starter pack end-to-end, it becomes easy and very efficient for you to actually, venture into the digital marketing space. Go to the next slide. On the final note, digital is not cheap. It is not an alternative. It is our way of life. That's the way of life right now. The young people who are being born into this world right now, they are called digital natives. The first thing they understand is digital. They understand phones. They know how to work all of these things. There was a time I showed my son a cassette player. It was like, what is this? Consistency is key. Whatever it is that you do, make sure you're consistent in all the things that you're doing. As you're selling, wake up every day and show up. Number 4, it's all about engagement. You must engage with people. Number 5, set your goal. And you're setting your goal, which means that I'm here right now. I've got to be able to do 20 billion by next year. Those are the goals. Those are the objectives. And that way you begin to work backwards to get your, make your mark, so to speak. Next slide. I think that should be the last slide. So this is who we are. I think I've mentioned that. So we are an independent marketing and communication agency, constantly pioneering the cause of innovation communication, innovative communication. We deliver original ideas that help put our clients' brand in the spotlight. We run a full-fledged agency spread across. We're in Nigeria, we're in Ghana, we're in Ethiopia. And our scope covers traditional marketing, digital marketing, below the line, public relations, fabrication, and multimedia. Thank you very much. I hope I've been able to make an impact today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ekundayo. Thank you very much. It was very enlightening. Also to reiterate that Mr. Ekundayo is the founder and vice president of Cerebrate Digital. And like you said, in 3 different African countries, Ghana, Ethiopia, and Nigeria. Now, I just, in another 10 seconds, few seconds, I want to quickly go through some of the things he dropped, some should I say hot words that he dropped. He said something very quickly. He said that the future belongs to people who can customize it. This is someone that has over 25 years experience talking to us here. Now he says the future belongs to people who can customize it. That's one very important thing to take note of. And he also mentioned how important it is to have a business that actually earns money on a daily basis. How can we commercialize such a business or such an idea? Then he says that you can't substitute the business for digital. So you cannot substitute your business for digital technology and the like, but the business is the business. And he also said that you don't need that the currency, the foundational currency is trust. He says that is very important. Trust is the currency that is being traded. It is very important. He talked about different businesses that had some certain delays because of trust. He mentioned the likes of Konga, he mentioned Amazon Prime. He gave examples like that. Now, he also said that digital is just a vehicle, that you must master the art of what makes your business tick. It is just a vehicle, but you must master that art of what makes your business tick. He went through so many other things, and he also said that numbers don't lie, but you must interpret those numbers correctly. Numbers, the statistics may not lie, but you must be able to interpret them correctly. Such statistics that you see here and there. Then he also went over to talk about the what level are we actually operating on? What level are you operating your business on? There's the offline, there's the intermediate digital form of business, there's basic and there's advanced. He gave examples of companies like Flutterwave and the likes. Then he also said something very key. He mentioned that 1% will continue to rule because they understand the workings of the mind. So I'm beginning to link that statement he made to the name of his company, Cerebrate Digital. The mind and the cerebral, processes of the human being and all that. Then also in rounding up, he talked about content is king rather. He said content is king. Your content is king. Very important. What content do you actually have? I talked about the 5 W's and the H model. What, who, why, how, what are people buying? Where are they buying it? How are they buying it? Okay, now our time is fast spent. While he's going to still be online with us, Mr. Ekunda is going to be online with us for questions. Please, we need more questions from you on the chat room, okay? Kindly send in your chats now, all right? There's a question here, but we'll take that shortly. Please hold on as we're going to our next presenter. Now, we have a very interesting individual in our midst. He's by name Mr. Sean Olabode Badiru. He's another very skilled digital media professional, and he has skills from content marketing to social entrepreneurship. He's also a management consultant. He has skills in web design, photography, just name it. The list just goes on. Video production and even data analysis. The list goes on. Then he also He also worked as a registrar, very, very, very interesting. He worked as a registrar in a tertiary institution, and he actually brought about a strong digital transformation in that institution that brought about national awareness and recognition. He's also worked as a creative director in one of the foremost in the foremost media organization. Now he runs, this is also important and key, he runs a youth development program to empower youths in web design, digital marketing, e-commerce, video editing, photography, and like I said, the list just goes on. He's also, very interestingly, an author of several books, and is a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Commerce, and is the general secretary of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, Ogun State branch. Mr. Baderu has over 15 years experience, and it is very important that we take note of the things he's going to say, and we can ask questions here. So over to you, Mr. Baderu, and thank you for being with us.
Good afternoon. Is it morning or afternoon? Good morning, everybody. I'm delighted to be with us. I hope we can hear me. Can you hear me?
I can, yes, I can hear you from here.
Okay. So I'm delighted to be in our midst this afternoon and this morning, because we have a lot to do. I'm not going to, this is not the time to tell stories or to eulogize or to, motivate or to inspire. I'm here basically to deal with tools. Irrespective of your background, you can do what I'm doing. If you check my profile, you see that it's a funny profile, funny profile, rising to become a registrar of a tertiary institution, not a backyard one, the one that is in the JAMB brochure, at an early age of 28. I became a registrar at 28, and I got tired of, maybe because I rose extremely too early. I become bored with that and went to explore, other fields in integrated, that's the name we used to call it, integrated marketing communications then, and et cetera, et cetera. So the point I'm making is, if I can be this, then anybody can be this. Anybody can do much more better. All you need is to look inwards and get online. The internet is richer than Harvard. I hope that's not a controversial statement, but I wasn't trained in Harvard. I wasn't trained in Oxford, but I consult for people home and abroad. And when I say home and abroad, I mean, the who is who in the professional institutes by the help of God. So what we do right now is we just focus on, having fun, doing God's work, and it's paying the bills. Just, deploying whatever it is, the grace that God has given us, especially in the area of, in the digital, space, to, push further the love of Christ, especially in the area of corporate social responsibility. So when he was reading that I was involved in empowerment, we do free web design training, we do free video production training, video editing, photography, we do free digital marketing training. I mean, what am I going to do with it? I'm going to be 40 in 3 weeks. So I'm crossing to the next half of my life, and I should be planning retirement and, leaving a legacy behind. So I'm doing it free. Apologies to those that are really in the field, that are planning to make money. I know what I do negates their, their beliefs. They feel this thing should be commercialized, but for me, that is a ministry for me. So that's how my life is, and so that it's basically an informal one that has helped my life. Today, I've been asked to look at how we can leverage digital technologies and tools to advance the frontiers of business and church. So my brother who spoke earlier has laid a very beautiful foundation. He has looked at the impact of the pandemic on businesses, and he has motivated us to actually wake up. So I'm just going to jump into the business of the day. So host, okay, thank you for allowing me to share my slide. Leveraging technology and digital tools to enhance business and church business. Okay, good. Now, look at all these companies. What do they have in common? Let me give you 5 more seconds to just look at them. These were big names those days when we were growing up. Kodak. Kodak was a technology company that dominated the photographic film market during most of the 20th century. I'm sure we know. The company blew its chance to lead the digital photography revolution as they were in denial for too long. It was, what was this, their engineer? I think he's Steve Sasson, who actually invented the first digital camera back in 1975. I think around 1975. But it was filmless photography. So management's reaction was, that invention was cute, but, don't tell anyone about it. The leader of Kodak failed to see digital photography as a disruptive technology. They went ahead and developed the first consumer digital camera, but could not get approval to launch or sell it because of fear of the effects on the film market. They were too consumed in their, aura of leadership, and they filed for bankruptcy in 2012. So sad. Nokia. I'm sure some of us growing up, especially if you grew up like I grew up, you would have come across Nokia 3310, the strongest phone that ever lived. Nokia was actually, the first company to create a cellular network in the world. The pioneer of cellular network in the late 90s and I think early 2000s. They were the global leader in mobile phones. With the arrival of the internet, other mobile companies started understanding how data and voice, and particularly more of the data, was the future of communication. So Nokia did not grasp the concept of software and kept focusing on the hardware, that they were champions in, because the management feared to alienate current users if they changed too much. They made a mistake and they paid dearly for it. In 2008, Nokia finally made the decision to compete with Android. But again, it was late. The products weren't competitive enough. Xerox, the famous rank Xerox, they were the first to invent the PC, and their products was way ahead of time. Far, they were living in the future then. Unfortunately, the management thought going digital would be too expensive, and they never bothered to exploit the opportunity they had. The CEO then, what was his name? One funny name. I think it was Keynes, was convinced that the future of Xerox was in copy machines. So the digital communication products invented weren't seen as something they could replace, the black marks on white paper. They failed to understand that you can't keep perpetually making money on the same technology. Sometimes, please let's learn this, technology too fails. Too bad. A blockbuster. Blockbuster was synonymous to movies. They were, video rental company that were, making waves, commanding competitive advantage, early enough. So while Netflix was shipping out DVDs to their consumers' homes, Blockbuster figured their physical store were enough to please their customers because they had been leaders in the movie market, even though they had a deal, from Netflix, but they turned it down and they paid dearly for it. So the lesson from all this, I'm sure you know about Yahoo too, you know about IBM. Yahoo focused, it felt instead of focusing on search, they focused on their own way of running life. And again, they paid dearly for it. IBM, Motorola, BlackBerry, Homer, Compaq, AOL, and General Motors, to mention a few. Now, I have to say this because we need to see that if we fail to plan, if we fail to innovate, we may end up, like these companies. Let's look at this illustration. The first picture up was in around 2009 when it was the in thing to shoot musical videos and movies from an helicopter. The cameraman and the pilots lost their jobs about 10 years later when drone arrived. Some of them didn't envisage that will happen, but technological disruption is changing the global business landscape and redefining the skills that matter. So what should you do? The secret for a bright future seems to me to lie in flexibility and in the ability to reinvent yourself. If you believe that the future lies in STEM skills and that interests you, please train for that. But be prepared to rethink if the world does not need so many programmers. If you are a great accountant who has prospered by building strong client relationships, think how you can apply that capability without necessarily having to be an accountant. Think about yourself as a bundle of skills and capabilities, not a defined role of profession. That's in the word of Carol Stubbins, the global leader, people and organization of PwC. What he said is deep, really, because disruption is changing the way things are done, changing industries, and so many industries are affected by this. So if your industry is affected and you can't reinvent yourself, then you're going to be out of job. Travel websites such as, Expedia, Kayak, Travelocity, what name do they call themselves, have eliminated the need for human travel agents. So if you remain a travel agent person, a traditional travel agent person, you will lose your job if you don't reinvent yourself. Tax softwares such as TurboTax has eliminated tens of thousands of jobs for tax accountants. Newspapers have seen their circulation numbers decline steadily, replaced by online media and blogs. How many people purchase the physical newspaper now? Maybe the rich among us, today, who just buy newspaper for buying sake. Not that they want to, but because the organization has a budget for it, they just buy. The rest of us, We turn online to consume news. Language translation is becoming more and more accurate, reducing the need for human translators. The same goes for dictation and proofreading. So again, if you don't reinvent and you are a language translator, you will soon be out of jobs. Technology is taking over. Secretaries, phone operators, and executive assistants are being replaced by enterprise software, automated telephone systems, mobile phone apps, etc. They say I'm a secretary, file carrier, tip preparer. For what? Technology is taking that. It's taking over that. I do a lot with my tab and my Mac. I do the kind of work, the productivity I dish out just with these three gadgets with me. Take me to space. Just leave me with an internet and these three, assistants with me, and maybe my camera, and all these, digital gadgets with me. I will deliver much more than a full-fledged organization who believe, they can keep doing these things the traditional way and succeed. Online bookstore, Amazon, they are forced with the brick and mortar booksellers to close their doors permanently. Additionally, the ability to self-publish and distribute ebooks. Everybody can publish now, is negatively affecting, publishers and printers. So the list goes on and on, in the financial sector, among job recruiters, even the traditional taxi, Uber and Lyft, they are pushing, them, to the extreme, out of, extinction. And if you do not innovate, you may soon be on your way to extinction. So Carol Stubbins was right when he made that, is it suggestion now or assertion? Now, you need digital skills to increase your productivity and maintain competitive advantage. For some of us who are employees, 90% of jobs in this decade will require some form of digital skills, according to Microsoft. If you are not equipped for these jobs, you will be relegated. Without digital skills, your business will keep losing revenue to your competition, who continually innovate and leverage digital skills to maintain competitive advantage. So what should you do? The worst is yet to come, the best is yet to come. That's my belief. So expect the unexpected. Expect the unexpected. Your skills that you have now that people think is not needed, is not relevant, just hold on to it. If improve on it, and with time, the stone that the builder rejects will finally be a cornerstone. I was in, people around here. I'm a pastor in charge of area in the Redeemed Christian Church of God, for instance. That's on a part-time basis. I'm a full-fledged digital media consultant. That's what I do. But, in the church, then people feel you don't even know more than, digital, this. They were too focused on people, just interaction with people. And the moment the pandemic struck, of course, I had always been, living my life in the digital space. So I just thrived easily. The content I've been pushing, I do content marketing. I push emails to people. I've been pushing this email for about 4 years now, consistently. People were not reckoning with it. Suddenly, between March and now, the amount of responses I've gotten from the values I add through these platforms has been overwhelming, because now they had to listen. So the unexpected, they thought people like us who were too busy online, who were too busy with laptop laptop all the time, laptop. It's always with laptop, it's always with what do we call it, tab, iPhone. Him and his voice, always alone, always in the room, always with internet. They thought, people like us, with our offerings, do not have, cannot make waves. But the unexpected happened. And now it looks like, we have a voice, and as though they're the only voice. So the unexpected is still coming. So prepare for the unexpected. Find gaps. If coronavirus is taking and the lockdown is taking people's jobs, the same virus or pandemic that is taking jobs is creating more jobs. The same pandemic, with humility, between March and now, the amount of impact I've made, that also translates into, financial income for me. Had exceeded what, okay, let me not say it because I don't want tax people to start chasing me about. The pandemic that took some people's jobs, it gave me, and my organization, some openings to also operate. So find the gap that is being created by this disruption, by the new normal, and get your skills in order to fill these gaps. The skills that you feel are no longer relevant, do away with them, upgrade your skills to what will be needed, especially digital skills, especially since we can't do without that in this new decade. Adapt to survive. I say it again, I've been, there is virtually no weekend I'm not engaged in one webinar or the other. And I say it almost every weekend. With due humility, this period has been an inconvenient period for me because I had to adapt. I had to, go through sleepless nights in order to be able to perfect my presentation, even though I know what to communicate. But I had to adapt to, what the new normal, requires. Is tasking, but adapt. If you don't adapt and, discipline yourself to fit into the requirements of the new normal, you will, you're going to find things difficult, and you may not be able to gain and maintain competitive advantage in this decade. What else should you do? Jump on the passing ship. Whatever training that comes your way, this one is doing webinar in this field that you need that skill, jump on it. This one is doing another free webinar on digital skills, jump on it. A leader in the province, Pastor Remy Morgan, pushed to me, I think, a radio broadcast of the Christ Church, where one brother was talking about, was exploring the new law. I think this CAC law, the new Karma law. I saw it. Wow, I think I need it. I had the hard copy, but the brother broke it down, in details. I had to beg PRM to add me to the broadcast list. That's the passing ship. I had to jump on that passing ship. So since then, I've been receiving and learning from whatever is being dished out from Christ Church. So whatever passing ship is passing by, especially in the area of training, please jump on it, because you will need it. And for you as a manager, please encourage your employees to acquire new skills or completely retrain in order to remain employable in the future. Is the route to training and retraining, and incentives aimed at encouraging development skills should be prioritized. Develop in-house training, also sponsor them to go get training elsewhere. The internet has provided, so much platform for training and retraining. There is Udemy, there is even YouTube. If you follow real content creators in your field, you're going to enjoy your life. Now, let's look at the tools now. We've looked at we've briefly assessed the situation, and now the tools for us to work with. The design tools, we have Canva, we have Adobe Spark, we have Venngage, we have Pixlr, we have Gravity Designer. I've done a full video with Canva. Canva is basically a design tool you can use to create letterhead paper. You can use to design flyer. Even write on your mobile device, on your phone, on your tab, on your iPad. You can design a full-fledged flyer, a full-fledged letterhead paper on the go while you are in the car and your driver is carrying you, or you are in the field or wherever, just with these tools. So I'm going to push to the admin the video I did, the YouTube video I did on Canva. And then when you watch that, you should be able to get details on how to use it. We have note-taking tools. I believe 90% of us in this meeting should have this. Have Evernote, we have Microsoft OneNote, we have Color Note. These are tools to just make notes on the go. And now you design letter paper with Canva, you write the notes with Color Note, with Microsoft OneNote, with Evernote, and now you want to sign. These are the apps to use to sign them. We have the DocuSign, we have the Adobe Sign, we have the Sign Easy, we have the Sign Now, we have the Hello Sign. They let you sign, as though you are signing a real paper. So these technologies have saved you the stress of, having to be in the office at all times, asking your, secretary or administrator to push to the printer, whatever it is he wants to print, they bring it out, then you sign, then they have to go and scan it again to send it to whoever they want to send it to. Just use, even if it's a fresh letter paper, use Canva to design, use Color Note or Microsoft OneNote to do the writing, and use DocuSign or Adobe Sign to sign it and send it to the person. He receives it like a full-fledged letter, official letter in his hands. So that's those are the tools for it. Now, project management tools. These are tools that let you just manage whatever it is you are personally doing or that your team is doing. There is no time now. I'm trying to manage that. Of course, I've opened one of it on my system. This is what we're actually using to manage my birthday, the organizing team of my 40th birthday. We're on Trello. Trying to, maybe I should just show us, trying to, let me see, where is Trello? Where's Trello? Where's Trello? I don't know if we can see Trello now. Now, this is Trello. So if I want to create a new project now, I just come here, I create a board, and let's say this board is LP LP 35 webinar planning. Let's call it planning, and create the board. Now the board is created, so I make a list. Let's call this one to do. I add the list. Let's call this one doing. I add the list, and let's call this one done. And then that's all. So here in the first list, I can add cards. Card are task. What do we need to do? Okay, fix a date, add a card, and then after fixing a date, okay, what else? Contact, choose speakers, choose speakers. After that, you keep adding the tasks you need to do. Let's say, what else? Create link. Create Zoom link for the webinar. So we create all the tasks we need, and behind this task, we have activities. We could add, checklist. Let's say under choose speakers, okay, let's call this is what I need to do. So the first checklist here, item, okay, let's brainstorm on speaker with committee. I add that, and then when we are done, we get approval from PICP. We add that. Okay, we prepare letters, And then we add that. So as we are doing this, we are ticking. We are ticking. The moment I tick that, that means we have concluded with brainstorming on that task. When we get approval, we tick that also, and we keep moving on. If you want to add people to this, you can add members of the team. Of course, you would have invited them to join the board. You will add members, and that is project management for you. So when you are done with any of this, let's say, for instance, we have fixed date, we move it. Let's say that's what we are doing currently. We move it to doing, and when we are done, we just drag it to done. So that's how that project management software works. So these are tools you use to manage. You can't lose track of anything. You just ensure that everything you want to do is documented there. You assign people, you set a deadline for that thing, and there. So every member of the team is connected to that, and as they are, if they are, you assign any of them to any of the tasks, as they finish the task, they tick that they are done. So life becomes easy. Everybody can work remotely and deliver results. So next is communication and collaboration tools. We have Microsoft Teams, we have BlueJeans, we have Slack, we have SamePage. Again, there is no time. I would have demonstrated how to use Slack for us, because I also open it there, but I want to go into some more technical things. So this is these are tools you use to combine, WhatsApp messages and emails and text message, in one software. I don't want to get to the office and, my accountant is communicating with me via WhatsApp. Then my administrator is communicating with me via Yahoo Mail. Then somebody from the other office is communicating with me via Gmail. Somebody is texting me, somebody is sending me an SMS. If it's official, for crying out loud, let's put everything in one software. So when we open that software, we know that this is where our communication is for the entire day, both email, both WhatsApp, both direct messages, but even phone. You can use this to communicate for the entire day. You can even use it. You can integrate Zoom there. You can integrate video conferencing apps there and use it to make life easy for you for operations. So these are tools you use for operations. Now, when we talk about customer relationship management, that's engaging with external, audience, external stakeholders. These are tools you use. HubSpot is free, and I will recommend that everybody please just get involved with HubSpot. And if you need a one-on-one, like I said, this thing is free. I do it free. Apologies to those making money from it. I'm a pastor, I'm a digital media, but for me, this is ministry for me. So I teach people free. Everybody go and prosper. When you prosper, you remember me. That's my principle. So HubSpot, please, www.hubspot.com, log on to it, download it, register your business there. It will help you manage your customers online, offline, everything. You're going to put it there. Email marketing. In this generation, if you are not pushing content to your people, then you are missing it. You should push content to them. I know blogging is good. I do a lot of blogging, and I'm going to share again articles that are relating to business that I've shared my blog. I'll push it to the administrator, who will push it to us. But people may not have time to be visiting your blog at all times. So if Muhammad will not go to mountain, let the mountain go to Muhammad. Push the content to them and customize it to carry their names. And you can also put flyers and promotional materials there. That's the essence of email marketing tools. So we have MailChimp, we have Constant Contact, we have HubSpot again, we have Sender, we have Sendinblue, and a host of others. There are so many, but these are the ones I recommend. Social media management tools. There are rules for social media, and we will get there in a short while. For scheduling your posts, you don't have that time, that luxury of time to be online 24/7. So these tools will help you schedule and give you analytics, and show you the analytics and what you need to do, how you are doing, and the health of your social media platforms, and how customers and the potential customers are responding. To-do tools, these ones are basically tools you can use to organize your life, personally, task, and just make sure you're not losing track of anything. Please use it. It's needful. You want to scan things to text. These are their optical recognition tools. Maybe there's a PDF document or a JPEG document. You want to extract the text, maybe like a hard copy book, and you want to type it. These are the tools you use. And they are also, as they are online, they are also in apps. These are the apps, we have TextFairy, we have Cam Scanner. I'm sure a lot of us would have heard of Cam Scanner. We have MS Office Lens, we have Adobe Scan, we have Test Scanner, and a host of others. Scanner apps to scan, gone are those days when you have to rely on HP scanner in the office. I scan on the go now. Everything I need for productivity, they are on my phone, they are on my tab. So these are the apps you download and use to scan on the go. And then for some of us that are into QR, maybe products, and we need to scan, the barcode there. Again, there are apps that you can use to do this, and they are displayed here. We have QR and barcode scanner by Gamma Play, and a host of other manufacturers. Grammar checker tools. I don't need, even though I'm an editor myself, I don't rely on human editors again. And as good as I think I am, Grammarly still brings out some structural defects in the way I write. So I rely on them to also help me out. To store all your important documents, online, offline. We have Google Drive, we have iDrive, we have Dropbox, and a host of others. Photo editing tools. We have Adobe Photoshop Express, we have Lightroom, and etc., etc. All these are in a book. I extracted this from my book. Actually shared it with some of our pastors, and they feel we should come and share about this. So when you, if you're interested, even though they will still share the slide with you, but if you're interested to know deeply about all these tools, you can pick the book. You will see them there. Audio recording apps. We have Smart Recorder, we have Easy Voice Recorder, we have Walkband, we have Voice Recorder, and a host of others. Voice to text. You can engage these softwares to translate your voice notes, your audio messages, speeches, and to translate, translate or transcribe them to, text. We have voice notes, we have speech notes, and others, video editing apps that you can install on your mobile device and use on the go. We have the one you can use on your laptop, and Premiere Pro is there, Cyberlink, and a host of others. We have HR management tools. We have the Bamboo HR, we have the Gusto, we have the Zenefit, we have the Zoho people, and a host of others. Accounting tools, we have the QuickBook, we have the Wave. I think Wave is much popular. We have the FreshBooks. These are tools some of us use to generate invoices, to manage income and expenditure, balance sheet, all of that. These tools will help you. Now, why do you need these tools? You can no longer be doing business as usual. If you know some of these tools, your overhead will drastically reduce. I manage a full-fledged digital agency, but I can count the number of my staff because I also work with the Redeemed Christian Church of God. So running that, side by side with this, we rely more, on digital tools like this to solve a lot of problems, especially since, members of my management team and staff are scattered all over the world. We have people in Kenya, we have people, abroad, people in Abuja, me, I'm in around Lagos, Ogun, and we're running the company efficiently. So these tools have made life easy for us. Okay? We don't even need to see. Some of us may not even see for 10 years, yet the company is running effectively. all thanks to these two. So let's quickly look at the application now, especially as regards growth. And because they also asked me to talk on how we can leverage this for church growth. So I'm going to focus on deploying these tools, especially the social media strategy for growth, attracting customers for your business online, attracting members for your church online. And so we will use church as a case study, but whatever applies to church applies to business also. So repositioning the church for growth was a digital church, a virtual church, a website, social media platforms, television, internet, radio. All these are platforms for digital church. And why your church needs a website. If you don't have, if your church does not have a website, your business does not have a website, again, I'll send you why your business needs a website. There's already an article on it online. I'm going to forward the link to the admin, so it falls to you. But for church, it serves as a digital library. This is one of the websites we designed. I personally designed and managed this one. And you can see there, those are videos of services recorded. This pandemic period, they are stored, they are there, they are preserved, and they are arranged. So the website serves as a digital media library for your content. And it helps people stay up to date with your programs, you know, especially globally. You can use websites to send messages automatically and welcome members warmly, customers. Your website can do that for you. You would have automate everything on it, and boom, it shoots. And the moment they come to church, all you need to do is to input their names in the right column there, and it takes care of the rest for you. The church website also helps members, strangers locate the church. There's what we call GPS. We embed it, either your business website or your church website. The moment they click on get direction, there is a button there. You know, that get direction you are seeing on the screen, that's actually embedded in one of the sites. So the moment you click that, Google Map opens, and you know, GPS opens, and from wherever you are, as long as there is a road network from where the person is to your office or to your church, GPS will lead the person there. All the person needs to do is to follow the charted direction. And unlike social media, which is owned and controlled by the social media providers, you really own your either business website or church website. You don't own Facebook. Zuckerberg owns Facebook, and it can kick you out at any time. So when it does that, what happens to all your labor, all the contents you have built there? Build your content on your website, and use social media just as a bridge to link strangers or customers to your website, and as a platform to engage your audience. Content on printed material such as bulletin newsletters, direct mails, postcards are impossible to correct, but you can always do that with content on the website. And you can raise funds online easily. So what should be there, you know, when you get the slide, you will see there, you have the homepage, warm welcome, we have the about us, the vision, mission, the history, the statement of faith, the core values, and pastors, ministries, choir, counseling, online giving, media center, the radio, you know, live streaming, you can embed it there, you know, events, calendar, house fellowship, locators, blog, contact us. Same for business. Whatever is here can be replicated on your business website. I see so many funny websites, and when I look at website, maybe because I design one, I see empty websites, just like body no engine, you know, websites that are not living, just they are just there, not performing any task. Your website should be able to do the job when you have gone asleep. There are websites we automate depending on the amount you pay, that when you come in, you know, there are bots there that respond to customers. They welcome them. They have been configured to answer questions, you know, on your behalf, answer queries. So this is an example of one. So we'll just go on, and we'll just look at this now, and we will stop. Now, we've looked at why your church needs or your business needs a website. So how do you now, because the topic they gave me also relates to growth. So let's look at how we can deploy these tools to attract members to church, and you can also apply that to your business. How you engage social media, especially to attract customers. For content creation, just have a decent content production gadgets, a camera. I'm going to show you one. There's this personal one I have, very cute. I have a full-fledged, digital department of a church in my house, but very cute. Everything is neat and cute. So you can carry them up. You can have them in your house, and I can shoot a service, a full-fledged service now in my house, and put the lighting well, put the background, and you think I'm in the church because the audio, the video quality, everything is on point. So how do you deploy this to attract people and grow your business and church? Now let's look at statistics. 7.6 billion total population, 5.112 unique mobile users, 4.3 internet users. That's and for social media users, we have half of the world's population active on social media. And for some of them who are using it on their phone, we have 3.2 billion. So you can see your market, how big your market is. I know there's what we call target marketing. We are going to segment and do all that, but this is the potential, population you'll be reaching if you play your game well. Now, demographics. Facebook, 2.44 billion people. Almost everybody is on Facebook if you look at that age range. 18 to 29, we have above average there, 86%. 30 to 49, we have 77%. 50 to 64, 51%. And it's people above 65 that are below average, 34%, just below 50%. So almost everybody is on Facebook. You want to reach everybody. That means Facebook is a platform to reach everybody. Maybe except those teenagers, the teens that feel Facebook are for elderly people, so they are not really there. But from 18 and above, they are on Facebook. YouTube, if you look at the demographics again, almost everybody is on YouTube. Amazingly, even the 15 to 25 years, they are there. They are even more there, 81% consuming videos. Taoma, Mr. Macaroni, all these funny guys, they are there enjoying the content these guys are dishing out. Instagram, basically teens, and the ladies are there because they love selfies. Selfie, baka, and they make pancake. They like to show off. Instagram is actually a content distribution platform that encourages video sharing and image sharing. So ladies love it. They rub powder, even they are in their house eating bolly. They look for a decent place and snap and say they are in Mr. Biggs. They just love it. So they are actively there. But some of us who are businessmen, we tend to not to be there. I'm there because, of course, I have to be everywhere as a social media, as a digital media person. But I know that the ladies are there and the teens, you want to reach them either for business or for church. Instagram is a place to reach them. Twitter is a place to consume news. There's so much buzz these days on Instagram, all manner of people, those who have sensible things to share and those whose contents are not sensible. Everybody just wants to say something, so they are there. So it's where is a place to reach, business to business, and to also consume news. Snapchat for teens, not so popular in Nigeria, but because this is a global landscape we're operating in, you can exploit. Now for church, recommended digital church platforms for each demography. Like I said, I've been looking. I'm trying to rush this because I'm also conscious of time. So you will pardon me if I'm not digging deep into some of these things I'm mentioning. I tell them in the brick and mortar church, you don't put the whole people in one congregation, in one under one roof and preach to them. You give the teens their auditorium, you give the children their auditorium. But online, suddenly, the moment the pandemic broke out, you see pastors sweating online, preaching, and they expect teens, they expect children, they expect the women, the men, the elders, everybody to gather around one sermon online and one stone to kill so many brothers. It doesn't work that way. There's a way the things will perceive whatever you are dishing out, that maybe you are trying to address the elders. There's a way the things will perceive it, and it will look like you are attacking them. So give them their own platforms, please. Give them their platforms. Do a different YouTube account for children, a different YouTube account for teens, different YouTube account for youth, different YouTube account for elders. Reach them there, give them their pastors, let them manage them there. Also for children, they are not on social media, but give them a Zoom account. I'm talking now lockdown proper. In a situation where they can't come to church, they should be able to talk to you. So engage the Zoom tool to reach out to them one-on-one. For teens, I've told us they're on Instagram, they're on Snapchat, they're on MixLR. MixLR, my brother who spoke before me had mentioned it is an online radio program platform. So they are also, the teens love it because they love streaming music. So engage them there. The youths, they're on Facebook, they're on all these other social media platforms. Engage them. And the elders who are not on social media, you can still reach them. If they are not on social media and there's lockdown proper, you want to evangelize them, you want to invite them, SMS is what they understand as the digital platform. Reach them through that means. The moment they have Nokia 3310 or Motorola or whatever phone they have, even if it's Triumph, if Triumph is still existing, the moment they're able to send and receive mail, the SMS, they're able to read it, they believe they are digitally compliant. So construct your message and push it to them via SMS. You are reaching out to them digitally. It's not until you do app, that you reach out to them. Else you will be losing that market, either for church or for business. And they are on radio, they are on TV, and all of that. So this is where they are, either for church or for business. If you are targeting anybody, this is where to reach them. You can see that almost everybody is not on TV again. Those on TV now, on proper TV, are from the adults. Because again, when last did I watch TV? I have a TV in my front now in my home. We don't do it because I don't even have time to. We don't subscribe again. Well, subscribe for what? I have an unlimited data in my home. I have laptops for my children. They have keyboard. They have everything. So when they come back, they just go to their laptops, and that's where life is now. The television now is on the laptop. So television is losing relevance. It's only the adults who are used to it that are basically watching it.
Yeah.
So
Hi,
pushing adverts. Yes, sir.
Please, you have about 4 minutes left.
Okay.
We have
okay.
questions for you and Mr. Kundayo.
Oh, okay.
All right, sir.
So that's where your customers are. For digital content types, we have videos, we have blogs. It's not only video content that are content. We have ebooks, we have white papers, we have email marketing and newspaper, we have infographics, we have slide share presentations, we have webinars, we have GIFs and memes. These are content types. It's not only when you preach, you can dish out content throughout all these means. These are tools you use, and I've shared with us some of the tools you can use to prepare all these for them. The content for each demography. I'm going to skip this. When you get the slides, is there. So the content for teens, the content for youths, the content for women, the recommended contents for men, what will attract them to church. And for content tips, I think, even though I still have the strategy you should engage to, but I think I should stop here. I have so much to, but let's not put ourselves under pressure. I believe we've been able to look at some of these tools and how to use them. So if there's anything I have missed, we can ask during the questions and we'll be able to do justice to it. If God helps us and we're able to have another opportunity, then we'll look at the basic strategy to lead people who are strangers. What you are seeing on your screen now is the journey of people, either church members or customers, from being a stranger to being a worker in the church or an advocate of your business. So each of these arrows, there are things you must do to translate them from strangers to your social media audience, to your website visitors, to becoming leads, to becoming members and workers. You know, there are steps you must take to do all that. But again, there's no way we can cover, you know, we have so much down here to look into, and we are just going to put ourselves under pressure trying to do what we cannot cover today. So having said that, I want to thank you, and I'll wait here for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Badiru. Thank you for that insightful session. You've actually revealed several secrets of several businesses to us. For those just joining, the topic is leveraging technology and digital tools to enhance your business and also to enhance church growth. To enhance your business and church growth. That was Mr. Badiru that just took us through that session. And there's, in another 10 seconds, I want to just quickly highlight some of the things he mentioned. Number one, he said, look inwards, inwards of yourself, inwards of your business. And he also talked about the secret of a bright future is being flexible and also having the ability to reinvent yourself, flexibility and the ability to reinvent yourself. Then he also talked about redefining your skills. He talked about jobs that would actually becoming extinct, that are becoming irrelevant, and we need to up our skills. And he also talked about jumping on a passing bus. We need to find our gaps. We need to get our skills in order. He also talked about address those of us that are managers, that we should train and retrain ourselves. We need to be informed. Now he went through a lot. We are going to get the slides. So I'm appealing to everyone to be patient. We'll get the slides. We're also going to take questions now because of our time. We're being very time conscious. Okay, let me go straight into the questions now. The first question that came in today is, kindly differentiate between mobile transaction and mobile app transactions. I'll push that to Mr. Ikundaya first of all. Mr. Ikundaya, are you there? Kindly differentiate between mobile transactions and mobile app transactions. Is that question clear enough? Hello, Mr. Ikundaya, are you there? Okay.
Thank you. I'm here. I've been trying to unmute. I think my screen froze.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I think the rest of us.
Please, can you do that? What's it called again?
Yeah.
So that my video can show. There was something you did about.
You want to share your screen?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Thank you. All right. So essentially, a difference between mobile transaction and mobile app transaction. Now, you can have transactions that are being done via your what's called mobile app. Now, mobile transactions have things like QR code, for instance. You don't have to open your app to do that. You can do USSD transaction, which is a mobile transaction, and it's not an app transaction. There are NFC transactions, which are like, so for instance, there are a lot of contactless cards. For instance, if you go to the UK, for instance, if you're going to do any transaction, you just tap and go. Those are mobile transactions. they are not necessarily mobile app transactions.
Yeah.
I hope that clarifies that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Now the next question is how helpful. I've had this argument before with several people on a certain platform, and the question is how helpful is digital marketing beyond having a website or being on social media for the service industry? For example, medicine. I'll take that again. How helpful is digital marketing beyond having a website or being on social media for the service industry? An example is the medical sector.
Okay, so I'm going to take an example from what we do with IGEA, for instance. It's extremely helpful as we're speaking right now. What the only challenge with most people is that they do not know how to break down products. All right. So in the medical field, there are ways in which you've got to convert everything that you're doing as service into products. So as we are speaking right now, you can generate a product. I'm going to go into IGEA as an example. We have what they call the maternity plan. So back then, you used to have like an umbrella cover for every medical conversation. So once you register as an HMO, you are covered. But what we did for IGEA was to now go ahead and break down their entire, what's it called now, service into products. So you have a maternity plan, you have a seniors plan, that's for the elderly people who are aged, all right? We have what's it called now, evacuation plan. The evacuation plan is like a premium plan, for instance. So what we then do is that market those products to the target audience. So for seniors plan, between last week and this week, we recruited about 600 people who, because everybody here, you might still have your parents, all right? And you know how it is, like, frequenting the hospital. Instead of you having to donate away money for every time they go to the hospital, you can put them on a plan such that if there is any challenge, they will be able to visit the doctor without you having to pay any premium or any money for that. So for medical space, you've got to think like, even if it's a service, you've got to break it down into products. So even for Cerebrate, for instance, we have an SME plan, which is, we're saying we're doing service, but there's an SME plan. So an SME person is very focused on results. They're also very focused on what's it called now, generating new clients to themselves at the barest minimum. So do we have a plan for that? You've got to come out with those things such that when people start to come, you are going into that direction to say, okay, we already have a plan for you. If you want to have an add-on to it, it will come as an extra cost or something. But converting in the space of service, you've got to convert whatever it is that you do into a product. That way, you can actually market it as a product rather than a service, so to speak. I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you. So this goes to Mr. Badiru. Son asked here that I'm interested in e-commerce. How can I promote my business on social media? Can you just briefly share on this in relation to this question? I'm interested in, Mr. Badiru.
Is interested in e-commerce.
How can I promote my business on social media?
Number one, you have to be online. That's the number one rule. You have to have an online content hub, a website. If you offer a service or services, then a full-fledged website is good. If what you do are basically sales of products, then an e-commerce store is what you should be looking at. For me, my counsel to those I train, if it's basically an e-commerce store you want, you don't want about us, etc., 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 just do Shopify. Please write it down. There is an e-commerce store called Shopify. Then that's the easiest for any layman to run. Then if you want to take it further, you want to add blogs, then you can use a Big Commerce. There's also a platform called Big Commerce. But if what you want to do is a full-fledged professional website, and you want to have an e-commerce store, as one of the pages there, then you do a full-fledged, WordPress site with, design with themes, and then you use WooCommerce to, if it's a plugin, you embed it there, and then you can integrate payment gateways, into it. There's one in Nigeria, there's Paystack, there is a Vogue Pay, and there is a host of others, the Nigerian Naira supporting payment gateways that can, support payment in Naira to your account. So when you have that, then you go online and go and do marketing, go and do Facebook advertisements, you do content marketing, you do blog, you add value, the value the product you are selling is adding to people. Communicate it. If it's drugs you sell, for instance, beyond drugs, there's something the drug is supposed to do to people. If your drug is healing malaria, then tell people, do content on how to avoid malaria. They can't totally avoid malaria, but because you are the one telling them how to avoid malaria, the steps to take to stay healthy, when the need arises, when they finally break down with malaria, they will remember that you are the one helping them, and it is your site they will come to purchase. So that is content marketing. Then you do, there's what we call, you upload your contacts. The contacts in your email list, you upload it to Facebook, and then you target, ads that targets them there. Create a gated content, lead magnet. That's what we call it, like a book, like a white paper. Embed it on your site, and then go advertise on Facebook that you have a free content here that can help their lives. They come, of course, the book is free, but before they download the book, you get their contact, you get their email, they fill in something, and then you can reach out to them again and again. That is a marketing. So reaching out to them again and again, adding value consistently like that again and again, will draw their attention to you and will position you as the person to come to when they need to buy anything. And because you are already stationed online, you have your e-commerce store online, they will always purchase there. So I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, quite detailed. Thank you very much. Okay, so there's another question. I'll throw this to Mr. Ikundayo, then come back to you, Mr. Badru. It says, still on digital marketing, let's take the bike hailing companies like Gokada that have not been affected by the government policy, but also COVID. And it seems like these companies are lacking visibility. So how can we harness digital marketing to grow customer base? I'll take that again.
Okay.
Oh, did you get that? Are you fine with that?
Yeah, I got that. Okay. I got that. So for Gokada, primarily the space of digital marketing for them is not it's not a pandemic. Well, pandemic slowed them down, but they've evolved into logistics, right? Which is, so there are two things. One of the first things was the fact that they had challenges with the government in terms of them waking up to the government to say that they've got to pay certain amount for their hailing services, right? Which was an afterthought. So it's not just them, everybody in the sector, Max, NG, even OP are affected by that. Now, advertising does not, what's it called now? If something is not on ground, if it's not working, advertising doesn't allow you to work, which is why I'm always emphasizing on the business. So the business still remains that it's a transportation business. If you advertise and there is actually no availability for that transportation, people will see it, but they're not doing anything about it. They can't do anything about it. All right. So the pandemic, for instance, a lot of people weren't going around at that time. The only service that was working at the time was delivery services, which meant that they needed to evolve the entire business. Now, if you now begin to advertise, but now your advertising would not be to individuals, would be to merchants. All right. Would be to merchants who have products, but they need somebody who can deliver it. So they are like a stopgap of some sort, bridging that. So that is what we call target marketing, for instance. So if you go on, what's it called now, on Konga's page, on Amazon or whatever it is, I mean, or what's it called now, God is good, GIG logistics, you actually can do that, I mean, very effectively. So your advertising would now be very targeted, not to everybody, but this time around to merchants. So that way, you can do that. I mean, for every bank, for instance, most banks like GT Hub, GT Bank has a hub that has most merchants who are selling one thing or the other there. So you can get a list of those people, send them emails, you can do remarketing. I mean, quite a lot of other things you can do to be able to attract and disseminate that. Hope that helps.
Okay, so thank you. I would like to come back to Mr. Badru. Mr. Badru, can you add to what Mr. just said? Do you have other things to add?
Okay, what was the question, please?
So on digital marketing, the bike hailing companies like Gokada, they have not been able to, they have not only been affected by the government policy, but also COVID. And it seems like these companies are lacking visibility. So how can we harness digital marketing to grow customer base? So Mr. Kundoya has shared certain things. I'd like you to also add your own comments to this. Harnessing digital marketing to grow customer base.
For a bike business, you know, of course, people still plow bikes. If I'm going to Lagos, I live in the redemption camp. If I'm going to Lagos, I'm not driving. I can't kill myself early, you know, in traffic. So I take a bike. I park my car. I park my car and take a bike from here to Lagos. So whether legally or illegally, they still do their business. That's by the way. But legally now, if these bikes have been bought, you know, what do they need to do? Then they should go into logistics. People, I have my wife is a caterer, for instance, and she gets orders from all over, all the way to Ibadan, you know, to Lagos and all of that. I have friends around who have this kind of transportation logistics businesses, but they don't have these tools. They don't have the bikes to use. So they are looking for people to partner with. Me, I'm also looking for people. So if you know bikermen anywhere, you know, that are available, that are, you know, stranded, you know, that are looking to partner with business owners to make delivery, then send them to me. So I'm breaking it down in a layman's language so that we understand how these things work. They should innovate. They should look beyond transportation and look into going into logistics, partnering with organizations, even the big guys, the Glaxo, GSK produce products. I mean, if we have to make delivery that are not, you know, too bulky, these guys could be engaged to make the delivery. Tantalizer is there, you know, KFC is there. So many of these products that make delivery. So let them innovate and try to shift. You know, maybe that's the only language that comes to my head now. Maybe shift focus from what they primarily thought it will be their business to and innovate now. You know, like the companies we listed that didn't innovate and went into extinction. They need to innovate, else the motorbikes will get, you know, rusted, and, you know, they won't be able to break even.
Yeah. Okay. So target marketing, remarketing, and of course reaching out and collaborating. Now, this is another question that comes to you, Mr. Badru. Now it says, how are you able to monitor teens and youths on some of the platforms that are specifically targeted at their age brackets? How are you
monitor
able to
them?
Yes, teens and youths on some of the platforms that are specifically targeted at their age brackets. Take, for instance, you have Mixler, you have Zoom, you have Teams. So monitoring them so that, you know, everybody's, yes.
Basically, what we do, we reach out to them. And those we already have. Of course, we have our church has grown tremendously since the pandemic broke out. New members came in, and, you know, engagement becomes very, very needful, else you lose them. we've been able to, I think the first question we have been able to engage them. You engage them by giving them what they want to consume. The content, sorry, I have to share something. I shared something here, but I didn't have time to explain. Okay, teens, yes. Look at this content. I hope we are all seeing this. Can you see my slide?
I can see your slide, yes.
Yes. So to engage them, I will get to monitor. To engage them, give them, these are the contents they are used to. So give them skits. They are used to skits. Skits are everywhere now on YouTube, on Instagram. So give them skits too, but skits on morals and Bible characters. Do Bible study for them to feed them. Give them short inspirational talks. Give them career talks. Give them online panel discussion. Let them, yes, engage them in the discussion. Don't be the speaker alone. Don't make them the audience. I'm going to show us gadgets right now, and some of my teams have it. These gadgets are okay, depending on your level. They may be expensive to some people, they may be cheap to some people, but they have it. We set up the studio, I shoot them, they feel belonged because they are not only listeners, they are also participating. Every of my teams is a pastor in his own right because they have their programs, the anchor. So with that, they are engaged. And when they are engaged, of course, we get feedback. So we have Facebook groups targeted at each of them. They push contents there. We do question and answer. We do giveaways. We do games there. We are together on WhatsApp platforms. My teams have the WhatsApp platform they belong. They are on Slack together with me. So at every point in time, if you have any communication, just push it there. But don't get too serious with these guys. Or from time to time, push to them contents that are inspiring, that are motivating, but that are so fun. So if we're able to do that, we'll be able to engage them. Now on monitoring, like I said, don't give them space. The reason they don't attend to you is because you are too serious. The contents you push are too serious. They see you as a pastor and not their elder brother. So teens have to see you as their elder brother before they can relate with you. If my teens commit fornication, they are free. I'm the first person they are even coming to tell before they tell their parents, because of how I take them. They see me as the big. In fact, I don't look. I don't tell them I'm 40 because I don't look 40. I look like 20 something. The guy they can relate with. So for you to be able to monitor them, please come down to their level and play with them. That does not mean you are not their pastor. That's the way to actually reach them. But if you come from your high horse and high pedestal to want to be like Daddy Gio will give the message to us, you are too far away. They'll go and meet Paoma or Mr. Macaroni or any of these online guys who dish contents, and they will consume. And it is what the bird eats that he will fly with. So thank you for that. I hope I've been able to answer that.
Thank you. So feedback, we should monitor that feedback, should not be too rigid. Okay, so there's another question to you, sir, Mr. Badru. It says, how does one go about making an existing church or business website interactive to do many of the stuff you mentioned that is possible on a website? How does one go about making an existing church or business website interactive to do many of the things that you've actually shared?
You just need, if you have a website, you are 90% ready. All we just need to do is to assess the health of the website and see what is missing. So we will add what is missing and then train the boys there. It is still the boys that will manage it. So we add what is missing, like calendar, like automating welcomes messages, like embedding, this live service programs there, like embedding your radio there, so many active things. We just embed it. The website is already there. There are things you will just add. And if you need help in this area, I'm sure they will share my contact with you. If it's not costing me, I don't collect money, but if it's costing me, of course, you will have to pay. So that's my contact details. Please write it down. show me your website, and I'll be able to tell you what you need to add. So whatever it will cost, we'll do it, and then we move ahead.
Okay, that's great. So the person also further went to say, you said this, but the person also says, does it require any special skill to do, since he or she already designs websites? Is there any added skill?
Wait. The person already knows how to design a website?
Yes. So is there any other added skill?
No. There's no. In fact, we are 90% ready for this. Please, this person should contact me. If you know how to design a website, I just show you what to do. So there is no. If you know how to design a website, you have solved my problem. Because again, yeah, interfering with this kind of things are, problematic sometimes because of the volume.
Yeah. Okay. So then, one more question for you, Mr. Badiru. Can you shed more light on how you can turn your home into a digital church?
Okay, your home. Okay, I was about showing you something.
Yeah,
now this is what do we call it? A lav mic. This is Rode Smart Lav. For those who want to take note, this is what I personally use. I've shipped in voice pop. Pop voice or pop voice is coming to Nigeria now. I just got them from Amazon because, again, from the reviews, they are very fantastic and they are cheaper than this. So this is mine. I have this, and pop voice is coming. If you need that, when it lands in Nigeria, again, call me. I will send some to you. This is, if you have this, and depending on the size of your church, for instance, Pastor Emil Morgan cannot be using this. Pastor Emeka, we can't be asking him to use it because his church, their churches are like, embassies. This with your phone, this can plug into my phone, and I'll mount this somewhere, or my small phone. The moment I plug it in, I position it on a tripod. Even if you don't have a tripod, if you can stack books together and put it, your voice will enter into this and go into Facebook Live. That's the simplest connection. So what teenagers and youths want to hear first, what they want to settle first, is the audio. The moment your audio is clear, see, I have a 4K camera here. This camera shoots 4K. But how many people have the internet facility to stream 4K? So when you are watching on YouTube or Instagram, you could hardly differentiate the value, between, or how do I say the grammar? You could hardly differentiate the quality between this, between the production of this, which is shooting 4K cinematic production, and the one that is shot on phone. So make sure you get your lighting correctly. Make sure the audio is crispy clear. Buy this small thing and then plug it into your phone. You want to go, you want to take it further, you can buy this. This is $199 in Amazon. This is Rode Wireless Go, the smallest wireless microphone known to mankind. This one, you don't need it, but for people like my fathers in the faith who are here, Pastor Emeka and PRM, I know they will need this. This is the transmitter and receiver. This is it. So this connects to either the phone or the camera, and this connects to you. So I bought this because, again, I'm a media person. If I want to interview people, I just go ahead. So this connects to this, mounted on a tripod. I set my 3-point lighting, one on the right, one on the left, and then I can use this background to deliver service. Of course, the background is still, I know if you want to fault this now, the fault you may point out in this is that it's not well lit, and it's because I'm using a Logitech C920. If I'm using this 4K camera, the production will be, super. So you do your 3-point lighting, one light at the right, one light at the left, one light up, you are well lit. Mount the camera on a tripod, wire yourself up, and start the service. You don't need a loudspeaker in the room. This will send the audio to this, and the whole world will think you are actually in church, because the audio will sound very crispy clear. Again, if you are not doing this, if you are doing this, send this to the phone, and if your phone is well positioned, the whole world will think you are in a service. So that's how to run it. And if you want to go an extra mile, you could get this. But again, that's becoming a luxury. So these are gadgets from the least to the highest, for indoor, production, media production. I don't know if I've answered that, or I've shown them everything I feel I should show.
Yes. Yes, I think that's quite explanatory. Yeah. Yes, okay. Okay, so I would like to know, is there any other, I think we've exhausted all the questions currently. We've exhausted everything. Mr. Ikundayo and Mr. Badru, thank you very much. You also mentioned a particular book you've authored that you're going to actually share the name of the book with us. Then you also talked about Pop Voice, and you said you can reach you on your number here. You shared that with us. It's also in your slides. We'll be sharing the slides with participants also. Okay. I think
okay, those who need the if you need the microphone, I'll actually show you how much the micro. I will send the link of where the microphone is on Amazon. So whoever has a direct link to the US, please, if you can ship in those microphones, please ship. If you want to buy from me, of course, you know the price. Just pay me the money that we used to purchase, and I'll give you and I'll order more. Everybody needs that microphone at home now, whether you are in the church business or you are a business person, because content now is king, and you must, audio is #1 priority in content creation. Like I said, I have a 4K camera, but if I set my phone and I set the camera and you are watching on your phone, the two production, you could hardly differentiate, because if you would have stepped it down to 720p, or if your phone is big enough, or you are watching from a laptop, max 1080p. My phone will shoot 1080p. My phone will shoot 1080p. My camera will still shoot 4K, and both of them will step it down when you are watching to 1080p or 720. So what you need is audio #1, and then you can add your phone, and that's good.
Thank you very much, Mr. Badru. We've had a very exciting and informative session. We have two very strong gentlemen. We've listened to them. We're talking about people that have over 30 years experience between them, 30 to 40 years experience between them. And it's been very, very insightful. We mentioned so many things. We're sharing the links. Mr. Badru took the last session and he talked about so many things about how to actually leverage on technology and digital tools to boost your business, to also boost church growth. We had Mr. Ikundayo, who actually is the vice president and founder of Cerebri and digital media, and he shared a lot of things with us. And he took the session that has to do with venturing into the digital marketing business. And we shared so many things. And we are going to share the slides with us. I believe you would also get the link for this recording. Permit me to start rounding off this session. We hate to go, but we've overshot our time. I would like to acknowledge the presence of Pastor Emeka Obiagu. I must apologize. We didn't want to interject when he joined. He actually joined early, and he would be giving us the closing remarks. Thank you, everyone, and it was a fantastic session.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Using the word strong session, I think, is an understatement. It's far more than strong, quite educating. My job is easy. I'm not making a presentation on venturing into digital business, nor am I talking on leveraging on technology, but mine is to say thank you. Today, I think we need to really appreciate Peter, the main anchorman, for the excellent job he's done on anchoring our programs. You've always done a good job, and he's made the programs quite interesting. LP35 Empowerment Team, I can never thank you enough. Last month, we had a session on the Masterclass. Your projects, the themes, the topics are quite apt, and today's own, even if we spend the next 2 hours, I'm sure people are not ready to go. I think I must place on record our appreciation to our provincial pastor, Pastor Remy Morgan, for giving us timely approvals, and to the leadership of Lagos Province 35, the assistant pastors in charge of provinces, the zonal pastors, and the area pastors. I must thank Pastor Bola Shokoya, the provincial pastor of Lagos Province 15, being in attendance. He's a man that loves knowledge, and I know he's been here since morning participating in the program. Pastor Bola, may the Lord bless you. Now coming to the paper presenters, Wale Ekundayo and my Aburo Bode, both of you are blessings to your generation. Sincerely speaking, if it's possible to lower my age, I don't mind coming to join you and do what you are doing. You've been able to speak candidly, and your vision, the work, your enthusiasm, you are sold into what you are doing, and your presentation was quite apt that you live for digital business, and this is the way to go. We have all been blessed today. The future belongs to the people who get into the digital space. But you've told us that we need to jump into the plane. I think it's time for each and everyone to jump in. Opportunities have been created by the virus itself. I know before the virus, men that didn't know how to cook, they starved. Okay, those that don't know how to cook, they relied on their wife to cook. But due to the lockdown, the wife was somewhere else, the man was somewhere else. And those men who didn't know how to cook, they drank tea and they bought bread and they lost so much weight. A lot of people didn't know, we are not used to internet banking. They felt, oh, getting into internet banking, my money will be stolen. They had so much cash, but they were borrowing money. So it has led to a lot of things that has led to changes. I think our lives will not be same. Our churches will not be same. We must engage in this digital space. The time to start is now. I use this opportunity to thank you all for participating in this. And Wale and Bode, please, anytime we call upon you, please do not hesitate to answer our calls. The Lord will bless the businesses you are involved in. Your families He will bless and take you far more than you ever imagined. Wale, you spoke, you are in 3 countries. You go to far more countries in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Bode, you do greater things than you ever thought of. I came into contact with you about 4 years ago. You've always been so amazing. I must tell you that I've been looking forward to the 40th birthday, and I'll be there whether corona or no corona, social distancing or not. I'll come and eat rice. God bless you all. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for having us.
God bless you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a lovely weekend ahead.
You too. Bye.